It's 6 a.m. Your office is on the 50th floor. Yesterday, the ride up took 90 seconds. Today, every elevator on Earth has vanished. The doors are just sealed metal plates. Your morning meeting is in 3 hours. Do you even try? How long until the entire global economy, built on the simple promise of going up, grinds to a halt? Let's find out. The stairwell is chaos. It's a two-way traffic jam on a one-way street. People climbing up, clutching coffee and laptops, are squeezed against people who gave up on floor 10 and are already heading down. The air is thick with the smell of stale coffee and desperation. You're not timing your arrival anymore. You're timing your pulse. Your calves are burning by floor 12. By 20, your dress shirt is soaked and you're tasting iron. This isn't a commute, it's an expedition. This chaos is what our world looked like before one man trusted his own invention with his life. In 1854, at a New York fair, Elisha Otis stood on a wooden platform, hoisted high above a nervous crowd. He looked down, gave a signal, and an axeman dramatically cut the only rope holding him up. The crowd gasped. The platform dropped a few inches. Then, with a loud clank, it stopped dead. A safety brake, a simple metal pawl, had sprung out and locked into the guide rails. Trust was born in that silence. 3 years later, the first passenger elevator went into a New York department store, and the world began to build upwards. Before Otis, stairs wrote the social code. Buildings stopped at about 6 or 7 floors, because that's as far as people were willing to climb. In 19th century Paris, the grandest apartments were on the lower floors. The higher you went, the cheaper the rent, and the more stairs you climbed. The top floors were for servants, students, and struggling artists. In pre-war New York walk-ups, mail carriers would often skip the 5th or 6th floor if they had too much to carry. The climb was a tax, and the penthouse was a penalty. The elevator didn't just move people, it inverted the entire social map of the city. Suddenly, the top floor wasn't a punishment, it was a destination. The soot and noise of the street faded away below. The view opened up. The penthouse penalty became the penthouse premium. Status was no longer about being close to the ground, it was about rising above it all. All because a simple machine made climbing obsolete. Modern skyscrapers aren't just buildings, they're vertical airports, and elevators are the fleet. Their entire design is based on a single piece of math. Move 12 to 15% of the building's population in just 5 minutes during the morning rush. For a 50-story tower with 5,000 people, that's 600 people needing a ride every 5 minutes without fail. To manage this, engineers create complex systems. Express elevators serve a sky lobby on floor 30, where you transfer to local cars. Destination dispatch systems group you with people going to the same floors. It's a precisely choreographed ballet of logistics, all hidden inside the building's core, which can take up a quarter of the entire floor space. Now, let's run that airport on stairs. A wide staircase can handle about 1 person per second on the way down. Going up is much slower as fatigue kicks in. So that peak hour rush of thousands of people, they hit a solid wall of human congestion. The math snaps. Your 50-floor vertical commute is now a 60 to 90-minute queue, snaking up landings just to get to your desk. Lifting your own body that high takes real energy. A 20-story climb burns through about 10 food calories in pure mechanical work. But your body burns 3 or 4 times that because our muscles aren't perfectly efficient. Do that twice a day, and your productivity is shot before you've even opened your email. But people are only half the problem. Elevators are the building's circulatory system for goods. Freight cars are constantly moving, carts of catered lunches going up, tons of trash going down, mail and packages arriving, critical server components being rushed to the data center on the 34th floor. Without elevators, that entire supply chain is severed. The deli cart can't climb stairs. The trash rooms on every floor begin to overflow. The technician with a new 50-pound server rack just turns around and leaves. The whole building starts to starve and choke on its own waste. Nowhere does the system break faster or harder than in a hospital. Hospitals are designed around elevators large enough for a patient bed. That bed is over 2 meters long. Moving a 90-kilogram patient, plus pumps and monitors, down a flight of stairs isn't just difficult. It's dangerously impossible for the staff and the patient. Need to get an ICU patient on a ventilator to the MRI machine 2 floors down? That journey, normally 5 minutes, is now a high-risk, hour-long gauntlet for a team of 6. Surgeries are delayed. Critical diagnoses are missed. The hospital's throughput collapses, and patient outcomes plummet. And for millions, the stair-only world builds an invisible, insurmountable wall. Since 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act has mandated accessible vertical routes. It's the law because it's a right. A world without elevators doesn't just lock out wheelchair users. It excludes the elderly, the parent with a stroller, the delivery person with a heavy dolly, or you next month when you sprain your ankle. Most public buildings we rely on would become instantly unusable for a huge portion of the population. Zoom out one last time to the entire city. With a practical walk-up limit of 6 stories, how do you house everyone? To replace a single 48-story residential tower, you'd need 8 separate 6-story buildings spread out sideways. To replace a whole district of skyscrapers in a city like Hong Kong or Manhattan, you'd need to multiply its footprint by an order of magnitude. You'd have to pave over Central Park. You'd have to build into the mountains. The dense, efficient, modern city pancakes into an endless, unwalkable sprawl. But here's the final, surprising twist. Sometimes the best way down is up. The old rule was never use an elevator in a fire. But the evacuations on September 11th taught us a hard lesson. Survivors from above the 70th floor reported descents taking from 45 to 90 minutes, with stairs clogged by injured people and upward climbing firefighters. Modern codes for super tall buildings now include hardened, smoke-proof, power-backed occupant evacuation elevators. The future of escaping a disaster from 500 meters in the air isn't just stairs. It's a smarter, safer elevator. So, if every elevator vanished, your workday wouldn't just be harder, it would cease to exist. The modern world is built on the assumption of vertical transport. It dictates our architecture, our economy, our social structure, and even our safety. And here's the kicker. This civilization-defining machine, the engine that creates time, access, and density, accounts for only 2 to 5% of a typical commercial building's energy use. We have traded a tiny sliver of power for the ability to build our world to the sky. And without it, everything falls flat in a day.